I'm Berks County Commissioner Christian Leinbach, and I want to welcome you to another Berks County Commissioners Board meeting. This is the meeting for October 22nd. Please note that this is being broadcast on Microsoft Teams Live, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and as always through bctv.org. If you would like to make any comments, please do so through the platform on which you are watching. We must have your first and last name, as well as the municipality where you reside. If you're from the media, we need your name and the media that you represent. There are two opportunities for comment. At the beginning of the agenda, we will ask for specific comments related to specific agenda items. And then at the end of the agenda, there's an opportunity again for general public comment. So thank you for joining us. As we always do, we will begin with a moment of silence, followed by a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As we always do, we're going to begin with a COVID-19 data report. This report is presented by Brian Gottschall. He is the director of our Berks County Department of Emergency Services, and he also is the lead of the Berks County COVID-19 leadership team. Brian Gottschall.
Good morning, Commissioner. Thank you. As you indicated, this is our weekly COVID data review. Let me just get our screen share up here. All right. You're able to see that, I hope. Alrighty. So our first slide that we look at each week is the Pennsylvania Early Warning Dashboard. This is the slide from last Friday, which is the last day that the state published. Again, our date is, with respect to this slide, is about a week behind the actual meeting date due to when the state publishes. We do see a continual uptick in all of our indicators, which is concerning and we need to keep an eye on. Our hospital emergency department visits are down slightly over the prior week, which of course I guess is good news, but it's a very small decrease compared to the other upward trending indicators. We look at our daily cases and testing. In the right-hand side of the graph here, we see this large spike in testing. That's thanks in large part to our testing that's going on at the First Energy Fight and Fill Stadium right now. We will talk about that a little bit more in depth at the back end of the presentation. And then, as always, this smooth, which makes it a little bit easier to see the trends. We see a continually upward climbing trend in our case counts. Again, as we're going to take a look at in a moment, the case severity does not appear to be as bad as it was in the spring, which is good news. But I really hope that folks aren't put too much at rest about the fact that our case severity is not as significant, because the more the disease is spreading throughout the community, statistically, the greater the chance that somebody who is going to be significantly impacted by the disease is going to encounter it. And that's why all of us who are reasonably healthy and who likely wouldn't have significantly negative outcomes from the disease still need to be very concerned about it and doing our best to make sure that it's not spreading through the community and impacting those that would be more severely affected by it. Our first test positivity slide, we see that we peaked and are on a downward slide. Again, I don't want anybody to get too comfortable over the fact that we see the downward slide. A large part of the reason for that is the large amount of testing that we're doing at the stadium facility, because we're doing a lot more testing, and because that is asymptomatic testing and testing that doesn't require any particular purpose to get the test. It's generating a lot of kind of extra negatives that are skewing our data over this week and next week. So certainly we like to see the downward trend, but please don't become too comfortable and believe that that peak is a real peak that we're now on the other side of. Our hospitals are seeing some increased traffic related to COVID. We see that our ICU numbers are double what they were last week, and we've unfortunately gone up from 0 COVID individuals on vents to 7 as of last Friday. So again, we're nowhere near where we were in the spring, but we're seeing some concerning upward trends in our case counts and our percent positivity and in our hospital numbers compared week over week. Again, Berks County, 9th in population in Pennsylvania, so all other things equal, we would expect to see ourselves 9th in any examination of things per capita. We're seeing our deaths and our cases per capita remain relatively flat. Our test count, we did get better, if you will, based on the per capita numbers. Again, I think that's probably to do with the fact that we've increased our test counts due to the testing at the stadium, and we'll likely see that number drop back down again a couple places when that community level testing goes away. As I mentioned throughout the presentation, a reminder to the public that there is COVID testing going on at the First Energy Stadium through Tuesday, and I apologize, I actually have better information in the slide. After I prepared this slide, we got the Wednesday information. So let's just jump ahead. Keep in mind that thanks to PADOH, the Fight and Fills, and the county commissioners, we do have this stadium testing location open. It remains open through this Saturday, October 24th, operating from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. Except for Friday and Saturday when we have to close it at 4:30 in the afternoon due to other events going on at the stadium. There are no requirements to be tested there. You simply drive up, walk up, or bus in and get in line, and you can receive COVID testing at no cost to the individual. Please remember that you do need to bring some official form of identification with you. So with respect to our testing outcomes, over the last week and a half or so, up until yesterday, we've done 2,602 tests at the stadium site. With respect to the demographics of those, and these are some interesting slides to look at, we see that the vast majority of our folks that were tested were over the age of 50, and when we get to over the age of 25, probably close to 3/4 of the folks tested fall into that grouping. And I want to emphasize, this is not all of the testing up till yesterday, because there is a delay in laboratory returns. This reflects only October 13th through 16th. But during that period of time, the largest number of people tested were the older folks in our community. But take a look at the percent positivity column on the right-hand side. We see that the highest percent positivity were among the 13 to 24-year-old group, the 13 to 18-year-old group, which is indicative of our school age or early college age folks. So again, I think it is important for folks in the community to realize that the disease is spreading among age groups that are not in what we would generally view as the most at-risk age groups. And that's indicative of the fact that those individuals, even though when they get the disease, they're very likely to have good outcomes and recover without even knowing that they were ill, or perhaps having a reasonably minor illness, they still need to be very concerned about being part of the vector of spread and having that disease move into other people in the community that are more at risk of serious outcomes. And again, just a slide of a little bit of interest. We did have a fair number of people from outside of the county present and indicate that they lived elsewhere. We don't know why that is. Did people come from other counties because the testing opportunity was available? Are these college students who reported their home address? But this is just the demographic breakdown by county of residence. So I think that our walkaway on that is that we have disease present in the community. The disease appears to be spreading in the community at a greater rate on a week-over-week basis. On the good news front, the folks that are being impacted by the disease don't appear to be as significantly impacted, but we all need to continue to do our part, follow those tenets that are in the Do Your Part Berks campaign, and be part of helping to solve this problem in the Berks County community. Back to you, Commissioner.
Thank you very much. Appreciate, as always, the detailed report. Any questions or comments from my colleagues? Hearing none, we're going to add an item to the beginning of the agenda. I've asked Commissioner Barnhart, who is chair of our elections board, to give a fairly detailed update on where we are with issues surrounding elections. Commissioner Barnhart.
Thank you, Commissioner Leinbach, and good morning, everyone. I'll try to roll out this in no particular order, but I think it's very important information. Anyone who has a question about tracking their ballot or their polling location and has access to a computer, votespa.com is a great place to go to track your ballot. You need to enter your first name, last name, and your date of birth to track your mail-in ballot, as well as checking your polling locations. We have 202 polling locations throughout Berks County. We have the same number that we have in a normal year pre-COVID-19, but we have found it necessary to move 18 buildings from one location to another. That's based on the restrictions those buildings may have. It's probably a closure of a school or specifically assisted living and nursing homes. One in particular, which I want to thank Exeter Township Police and Fire Police. We needed to move Exeter Precinct 4 from Neversink, the school to Neversink Rod and Gun Club, which is on Painted Sky Road. And there were some concerns raised a few weeks ago from voters that it's an interesting roadway, I'll say that. So we, through Brian Gottschall, thank you, Brian, contacted the police and fire police, and they're going to be out there on duty with proper directional signs and people on the road directing you in and out of the Neversink Rod and Gun Club. Again, we really try not to consolidate polls based on the sheer volume of voters who are going to come out on this election to try to cram too many people into one building. The only place where we did consolidate is in the city. We consolidated 4 precincts of the city to the Santander Arena, which is similar to what we did in the June primary. Again, those were places that we cannot utilize, and we want to thank the Santander Arena and the Convention Center Authority for opening the doors to us to make this happen. So again, we haven't consolidated, but for 4 of them, and we haven't eliminated precincts, and anyone in those affected precincts have received a letter in the mail. That is the most effective way to get that information out. With respect to mail-in ballots, we have sent out 79,497 and have thus far received 35,727. So people are really taking advantage of getting them in sooner rather than later. Day of an election, we have 202 polling locations. They will be electrostatically sanitized prior to the election to give our employees and our voters peace of mind as to the cleanliness of the facility. Our poll workers will be duly outfitted with proper safety gear. We strongly encourage you to also wear a mask and to social distance while you're waiting to vote. Q-tips will be available, gloves will be available if you prefer to use that to touch the ballot marking device. And then once you touch it without a glove or Q-tip, we do have 70% alcohol wipes, which the machine inspectors will wipe those ballot marking devices off. So then from the ballot marking device, you take that card and put it in the optic scanner. We had someone call the other day and want to know why he couldn't take his ballot along with him. We want to really remind everyone that no state anywhere in the country allows somebody to walk out of the polling place with a copy of who they voted for. This is certainly to provide a backup mechanism in case there are any discrepancies and or close races anywhere. That now, since the fall of last year, we actually have a backup a paper backup for these election machines. So we feel very confident. We also have had almost 500 people asked to work the polls in addition to the ones we have working. So my hat's off to the people in Berks County who stepped forward again, like they did in the primary and now in the fall. Nearly 500 people have requested, hey, if you need my help, I'm here for you. We want to thank you. We're going to try to get back to you before the end of the week, if not early next week, and let you know that we do appreciate that. And we're going to put you on a list for ensuing years as people retire or move. We certainly do have a fairly decent turnover, maybe 10 to 20% of poll workers each year. So we really appreciate that. But if you have not been contacted by election services thus far, you're probably not needed for election day, but thank you. We are then changing a little bit from the last election board meeting. I want to emphasize the fact that we are going to be recording, thanks to BCTV and their other partners in the community. We're going to be recording the entire process of when the ballots are moved from election services in the morning of election day via vehicle with a deputy sheriff accompanying the vehicle to the DoubleTree ballroom, where they will come in the back, go down the elevator and come into the ballroom, where we will have 162 county employees ready to go at 7:30 in the morning, because the law is we cannot open envelopes or start to count ballots till 7 a.m. election day. We have 162 county employees coming in from 7:30 to 2:30 and 82 coming in from 2:30 to 9:30. Socially distanced, 2 people per table in the ballroom. We have plenty of precautions in place. They will not be permitted to eat at the tables. There will be a little snack area. They can go get snacks or water, and of course sanitize their hands before they come back. This is a very manual process with some automation, with cutters, but it's very laborious. So we want these people, our county employees, to focus on this job, not just on the first shift, but the second shift. Again, my sincere thank you to the poll workers, to the county employees. I tell you, when the chips are down and we're in tight situations here, I'm so proud of Berks County, how we rise to the occasion and get things done to make this a real tremendously great county to live in. We will permit canvas observers. They're different than poll watchers. Poll watchers actually receive a certificate when they go to a poll. So they're actually watching whether Kevin Barnhart is in fact registered in that precinct that he's voting in. That's a whole different process than watching or observing a canvas. We have a form that needs to be signed. I will be at the DoubleTree at that process, signing not just the employees in, but observers coming in with a separate form. So what we changed this week, once we went over to the DoubleTree and did some logistical things, we were also able to capture the room right aside of the ballroom to actually do the scanning of the ballots. Initially, we were going to bring the ballots over here and then scan them in the optic scanners in the commissioner's boardroom, but we felt it was much more efficient and more practical for the filming process, the recording of this, to do it all in one location. So we're going to have the 3 optic scanners set up in the room aside of the ballroom. That'll be on that side behind the registration table. So if you're an observer, you will come to our table where Jessica Weekneck, our HR director, and I will be signing in our employees. And then we will also have a side off to the side for observers who want to come in. We're going to have socially distanced chairs lined up on the ballroom inside wall as soon as you walk in. So there'll be one way in, one way out, not any other door. Of course, there are panic bars in case there's an emergency, but everyone will go in and out one set of doors so we can monitor flow of employees, we can monitor the flow of observers, and you'll be asked to stay amongst those chairs that are set up against the wall. You can certainly stand up in that area, but we will not permit randomly walking through because the people are focused on getting these double envelopes open and the ballots flattened out to go to the scanning room. We hope it's going to be a well-oiled machine, and our expectation is we can get most, if not all, of this process done that day. If someone wants to observe election services, the same process would apply. You would need to sign a form that you were in fact an observer. It's a really tight area. And then the following days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, there will be additional ballots to be counted, mail-in, military, overseas. Again, ballots that are postmarked election day will still be flowing in before Friday. So there'll be additional canvassing done, but that will be done in the Commissioner's 13th floor boardroom, similar but much more scaled down than the DoubleTree process. I want to talk about drop boxes. We do have the one at the Services Center right here in the main lobby of the Services Center. There's a map on our website directing you here. And make sure there's also parking out front. We have 3 pull-ins in front of Reed Street where there are signs there that say for voters dropping off their ballots. So you can pull in there, bring your ballot in. You can only bring your ballot in. We do not permit, nor does the law allow for people to harvest ballots and bring in their neighbors or their friends or their family or drive around the community and pick up ballots. You're only expected to bring your ballot into the drop box. We also have a drop box at the Agricultural Center at 1238 County Welfare Road. So the hours are extended for Thursday and Friday. So they're open 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then Saturday, October 24th, this coming Saturday, 8 to 12. Now, I want to give a big caution, everybody. Several months ago, the County Solid Waste Authority designated this Saturday a hazardous materials drop-off at the Agricultural Center. They have pre-registered to drop off their hazardous materials at the Ag Center on Saturday and Sunday. So there will be some conflicting traffic if you're trying to drop off your ballot at the Ag Center. It's not a line of cars necessarily dropping off their ballots, but there'll be a line of cars trying to drop off their hazardous waste. I want to forewarn people. Stephanie Weaver is putting out a media alert. We hope the media picks up on this just to let people know that there is going to be a very busy area of Berks County on County Welfare Road Saturday morning, so everyone's aware. So then going into next week, of course, the vote boxes are closed Sunday, and this is not to restrict people from voting. This is just a mere volume of employees we have. Our employees with our additional supplemental employees are coming in at 6 a.m. and many of them are leaving 8 o'clock at night. And it's just a matter, we only have so much bandwidth with respect to even picking up the ballots at the remote box location. We have deputy sheriffs there during the day, and people have made a lot of complimentary notes about the fact they feel safe, they feel secure. We know that many other counties are relying on a video recording of the ballot box. I just think that's totally wrong. That doesn't prevent people from putting 20, 30 ballots in a box. It doesn't prevent somebody from tampering with the box or creating havoc with the box. I truly think that having a deputy sheriff in the proximity of the boxes and also helping people if they need any sort of assistance. I think it's again a compliment to our sheriff, Eric Weekneck, for deploying his deputy sheriffs to these 2 locations. It's not intimidation. It's just making sure that people know that these boxes are safe and secure. So of course we go back to Monday of this coming week. We're back to 8 to 5, and then on Thursday and Friday 8 to 7. Saturday, October 31st is Halloween. That's not the reason the boxes are closed, but it's a matter of that day is when the 202 judges of elections come and pick up all their materials to take out to the polls for Tuesday. It's a very, very long day for our employees, our election services department, literally giving all this material and product to the judges to they take out to the polls. So there's no reason why we're trying to prevent people from dropping off their ballots. Just a matter of it's a matter of the labor. So then Monday, the day before the election, both boxes are open 8 to 5, and election day, Tuesday, November 3rd, both boxes are open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. That's what we have at that point. And I think I covered at least the majority of things I wanted to talk about. if I do think about something at the end, if you don't mind, Commissioner Leinbach, I can, if I find some of my other notes, I can bring them up at the end of the meeting. But I think that covered a lot of territory. And again, election services, my hat's off to them and our poll workers and our county employees. It seems to me, and very verifiable, that people are standing tall in this difficult time. We're going to get through this. I think you're going to be proud of Berks County and the way Berks County is handling this election. Regardless of what you see on the national news or on Facebook or whatever social media you look at, I think we're doing a rock solid job here. Not us, but our employees who really step forward and make us proud of. I'm proud to be a county commissioner because of our employees, not because of what I do. So thank you, Commissioner Leinbach.
Thank you, Commissioner Barnhart, and very well said. We have some amazing, extremely dedicated employees, and our elections department. This isn't something that's just been going on for a couple of weeks. Pretty much since March, they've been under incredible pressure, new mail-in system. And even now, you mentioned the observers for pre-canvassing and ultimately counting. That's a whole new process. We didn't have an observer's form before 2020, and there really is no specific direction. We've had our legal folks and our chief administrative officer determine what is the most responsible way to make sure that observers, legitimate observers, can watch that process. So, but thank you for your leadership on the election board as well. Excuse me. With that, we're going to move in to the rest of our agenda. We'll begin. Are there any additions or corrections for the October 15th Commissioner meeting minutes and the October 20th operation meeting minutes? Hearing none, the minutes will stand approved as presented. We've had 3 executive sessions since our last commissioners meeting. October the 15th, dealing with litigation. October the 20th, with personnel. October the 21st, with personnel and litigation. Mary, is there any public comment on specific agenda items?
There is not.
Thank you very much. Under agenda, item 1, enactment of a county ordinance, an ordinance of the County of Berks, authorizing Berks County to enter into an intergovernmental transfer agreement between the Pennsylvania Department of Human Services, Office of Long-Term Living, and Berks County to provide for intergovernmental transfers of funds in order to provide the non-federal share of medical assistance payments to county nursing facilities for fiscal year 2020 through 2021. Item 2, authorizing, under that, Budget Department, adopt a resolution authorizing 2020 budget transfers in the amount of $18,322 and 2020 appropriations in the amount of $161,950 per listing dated October the 19th of 2020. Human Resources, we have 2 items. Item A, adopt a resolution authorizing Human Resources recommendations per listing dated October 22nd, 2020 as follows. Authorize the utilization of a temp agency for a Human Resources assistant, Human Resources Department. Item B, adopt a resolution authorizing the chair to execute the Vision Benefits of America contract renewal for a 4-year term beginning January 1 of 2021 through December 31st of 2024. We have 1 main item under Children and Youth Services, adopt a resolution authorizing the chair to execute the following insurance renewal applications for Berks County Children and Youth Services, doing business as partners in parenting for the period commencing January 8th of 2021. Item 1 is the Social Service and healthcare professional liability renewal application. Item 2 is abuse and molestation liability application. And item 3 is non-owned auto questionnaire. We have several items listed under the commissioners. Item A, adopt a resolution authorizing the chair to execute the memorandum of agreement for services between the Pennsylvania Department of State and the County of Berks to allow the county to receive at no cost cybersecurity hardware and software to improve the county's ability to identify and respond to cyber attacks. At the conclusion of the service period, the county has the option to remove the device or maintain the service at its own cost. Item B, adopt a resolution authorizing execution of the Memorandum of Understanding between the City of Philadelphia and the Southeastern Pennsylvania Regional Partners. SEPA desires to establish a regional EZNet to assist with delivery of 911 and disaster recovery services to the public. The city is the recipient of a PEMA grant to pay the costs of EZNet. The MOU memorializes the agreement and understanding of the rights and responsibilities of each party and is for 1 year period with the option to automatically renew for additional 1 year periods. Item C, adopt a resolution authorizing execution of the fiscal year 2019 through 2020 early intervention income and expenditure report to the Pennsylvania Department of Human Services. Item D, adopt a resolution authorizing execution of addendum number 1 to an agreement for the short-term agreement for the operation and management of the Berks County Youth Recreational Facility fields between the County of Berks and NARJ Inc. of Westchester, PA for the use and maintenance of field number 1. Item E, adopt a resolution of the Berks County Board of Commissioners amending the 2019 action plan to allocate certain funds from CDBG program to the Berks County Redevelopment Authority for general administration. The Berks County Nonprofit Development Corporation for Homeless Veteran Housing, emergency rental payments for low moderate income persons and families, and development of emergency shelters for families. It is further ratified, confirmed, and approved that the chair is authorized to indicate approval by the board and providing assurance, certifications, contract, agreements, and supplemental or revised data that the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development may request in conjunction with the amended 2019 action plans and additional funding from the CARES Act, and approval by the Board of the environmental review document related to the $300,000 grant from the Pennsylvania ESG-CV program. Item G, adopt a resolution establishing a property assessed clean energy program in the County of Berks with PP&L Sustainable Energy Fund, Inc., program administrator, a not-for-profit entity, and further authorizes the chair to execute a cooperation agreement between the County of Berks and PP&L Sustainable Energy Fund to administer said program and any and all documents necessary to establish said program. Item 2, a motion authorizing execution of contract agreements and amendments as furnished by the contract coordinator as set forth on the attached listing dated October the 20th of 2020. There are a total of 6 contracts, 1 with Children and Youth Services, 1 with the Commissioners, 1 with the Department of Emergency Services, 1 with Information Systems, and 2 with Mental Health and Developmental Disabilities. Item 3, a motion to ratify and confirm payments as set forth on the Controller's Office voucher listing. It's dated October the 20th of 2020, and the payment of electronic transfers and employee payroll.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion is carried. With that, we'll turn to Dennis Adams, our county treasurer, with the treasurer's report. Dennis Adams.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We have an opening balance today of $193,490,589.04. A balance to clear of $4,908,106.85, with a balance to clear that, or a balance today of $188,582,482.19.
Thank you very much, Dennis. We'll move now to our county controller, Sandy Graffius, with the controller's report.
Good morning, gentlemen. Total cash disbursements are $4,627,064.91, and there was no payroll. So that is our total cash disbursements.
Thank you very much. Now with our Chief Administrative Officer, Ron Seaman.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'd just like to take one moment to echo some of the things that Commissioner Barnhart said relative to the election staff. They really are doing their best that they can under trying circumstances, and I would please urge all of our citizens to be a little kind. I know many of us are frustrated with some of the procedures that are now required to be followed, but understand no one in the elections office or in county government were responsible for putting these laws into effect or making the court decisions that set up some of the regulations that have to be followed. And that's all they're doing, is following the laws that are set up for them. So with that, please remember the deadline to apply for the mail-ins is Tuesday the 27th, and get those applications in post-haste. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you very much. With that, we will move to Commissioner's reports, and we'll begin with Commissioner Kevin Barnhart.
Thank you, Commissioner Leinbach. As I do every week, I'd like to give you the rundown on Cook County Wellness's contact tracing report for this week. So far, to date, there's 2,274 contacts in the database, which is a true refusal rate of only 15%. I've said this many times before. We are really head and shoulders above other counties when it comes to people accepting contact tracing, so thank you. Of the 2,274 contacts in the database, that represents 138 new contacts in the past week, or about a 6% increase. Of the 1,699 remaining contacts in Sarah Alert, they account for 926 are now closed, 425 are under active monitoring, and the remaining 348 are using paper monitoring, which is a contact tracer checking in with them regularly by phone. So I think we've been hovering around 5–6% the last couple of weeks of new contact tracing. The CARES Act is moving full steam ahead. The deadline was last Friday to submit applications. We received 142 applications into 4 subgroups. The volunteer community leaders are meeting this week. The first meeting was yesterday. There are 2 today and 1 tomorrow. And they will be then submitting those for review and approval by this Board of Commissioners on Tuesday next week, so that we can get the contracts signed, the documentation in place, and get this much needed money out into the community. And then I know there's a couple of questions on the emails. I guess I'll wait until they're all read before we respond to some of the other comments about the election. Thank you.
You're on mute, Commissioner Leinbach.
Every time. Thank you very much, Commissioner Barnhart. And we'll now move to Commissioner Michael Rivera for his report.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Leinbach. I want to start off by thanking everyone in the Election Services Department for their hard work, for their long days, long weeks there. and also all of those that are involved with the election process as well, such as our Chief Administrative Officer, Ron Seaman, our Solicitor, Christine Sadler, Commissioner Kevin Barnhart as well, who all spent countless hours in this process to make sure that we have a secure election and that everything runs smoothly on November 3rd. There's a lot of prep work that needs to get done before, a lot of work that needs to get done after. So thank you all for your hard work and dedication to making sure that Berks County can have a positive and safe election on November the 3rd. I want to update on the New Start grant program. We were able to allocate an additional up to $6 million for that program. So basically there were about $12 million in requests that came in. We initially had allocated $6 million. We were able to allocate another $6 million from the CARES Act to that. So up to this point, all eligible applicants will be getting funding. When I say eligible applicants, it means that you have to meet certain criteria to be able to be eligible for the grant. So if someone applied but is not eligible, they will not be receiving the grant. So if you did apply, or if you do know of someone that applied, please ask them, as I had mentioned before, to be on the lookout for an email from Community First Fund and Lendistry indicating any other information they need to provide for that. Now there's about 600 applicants, so please, it'll take a little bit while to get the communication. So wait, give it some time. If you do have any questions, please feel free to call into my office, and I can look into it or give you any updates. But the communication will be going out, and there will be more information coming as we get it as well. I'll be sharing it here on our board meeting. So again, thank you to all those who participated. And again, if you do know of someone, let them know that they will be reached out and we'll be getting some communication shortly. And in reference to the PHFA rental assistance, one more update, that is November 4th is the deadline. That has not changed. So if you are a tenant or a landlord and need rental assistance help, please go to phfa.org/PA-CARES. You can apply there. Benefit is the money goes directly to the landlord, but the landlord and the tenant do need to work together for that. There have been some minor changes to it, not what we had hoped, but one of the changes is that the verification requirement for unemployment compensation has been eliminated, understanding that people may still get behind or may have issues paying their rent due to COVID, but may not be receiving unemployment compensation or may not have had to apply for it yet. So also help that get that word out. Again, phfa.org/PA-CARES. That's all I have. Commissioner Leinbach, back to you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Rivera. I have no comments, but will reserve possible comment based on comments and questions from the public. Before we go to public comment, are there any comments or questions from our row officers? Hearing none, we will move to public comment at this time. Mary Buer, my executive assistant, will read the comments.
John Archer, Spring Township. It has come to my attention that certificates will not be issued for the November election pre-canvass and canvass observers, which simply does not make any sense at all to me. Without a certification process in place, what prevents anyone from even another county or a non-citizen from gaining entry into the election services facilities during the pre-canvassing and canvassing processes? It looks like a recipe for total chaos due to a lack of formal control of the attending observers. Oksandra Jadick, why I'm missing? Good morning, commissioners. I am a physician and I work long hours. I tried bringing my ballot to the courthouse on Saturday, which is my only day available. However, the door was locked and the drop box was inaccessible. Please install more drop boxes with longer hours in the week preceding the election. Jane Palmer, why I'm missing. Commissioners, I urge you to reconsider the offer for a free bilingual texting program from the nonpartisan group PA Voice, which would send text to all registered voters, reminding them of the deadline and opportunities to vote by mail, at drop boxes, and in person. Apparently, you declined on the grounds that other organizations are doing that in Berks. If Mr. Seaman's comments from last week are any guide, I'm guessing you also thought texts were annoying. As director of one of the groups engaged, in calling and texting voters this year, I can assure you that we have found many Berks County residents who are confused about where, when, and how they can vote here in Berks. And they are grateful for accurate information. It's likely that they will be even more receptive to official information from Berks County Election Services. Some voters may be annoyed, but many more will appreciate getting a text from you, especially young people and Spanish speakers. We are doing our part and ask you to do yours in issuing clear and timely information via this free bilingual texting service. Adrian Jadick, why missing? Commissioners, due to the ballots being listed as having been mailed on or around October 7th, many voters distrust the USP post office. They are afraid that if the ballot took 2 weeks in, it will take 2 weeks out. Many cannot come to the courthouse during the posted work hours. Large amounts, I've heard, are considering voiding their ballot on election day and voting in person instead. This will increase wait time due to the voting process and will result in longer lines and wait times. You still have time to install more drop boxes to alleviate this issue. Also, please go on public media and inform the voters that the October 7th mailing date was not accurate and just a generic date. Voters need reassurance from you. Crystal Kowalski, why missing? Good morning, commissioners. Last week, Commissioner Barnhart said that he had a meeting scheduled with President Judge Parisi. Commissioner Barnhart, if it is permissible, could you please share the outcome of the meeting as it pertains to the increasing jail population and specifically the inclusion of weekenders? Thank you. Ubelkis Perez Reyes Redding. What are you doing so that we can serve our communities as interpreters at polls? The Spanish-speaking community needs to have access to know the voting process now. My name is Patty Therese and I live in West Lawn. I'm worried about Spanish language access on multiple fronts for Spanish-speaking voters at the polling locations. Question, why aren't signs at 633 Court Street explaining how to get to the drop box? Louise Grimm, why I'm missing? Good morning, commissioners. Thank you for increasing the hours that voters can drop off their ballots at the courthouse and the Ag Center. It makes voting more accessible to many who work regular daytime hours and helps increase participation in the election. We know that you have also allocated extra staffing to open and count ballots beginning on November 3rd, since we are one of 4 states in the country that prohibits getting a head start on opening mail-in ballots before Election Day. Again, we thank you for that. Since the state has allowed an extra 3 days to process mail-in ballots postmarked by November 3rd due to the volume and slowdown at the post office, would there be any legal reason? And if not, would you commit to only reporting the results of the election when all votes are counted, including mail-in and provisional ballots on November 6th? This would help avoid the possibility of conflict and perhaps violence over misconstruing the early returns as indicative of final results. Judge Arthur E. Grimm, retired, why I'm missing PA. Dear Commissioners, in an effort to meet the needs of our sizable Spanish-speaking voting community, will you commit to provide signs explaining how to get to the drop box in Spanish, provide explanatory signage in and around the drop box area in Spanish, and will you ask the sheriff to provide security with deputies who are bilingual? Thank you. Irene Jadick. I want to thank Karen Barsom for confirming by email that my over easy absentee ballot was received. I urge you, however, to make this confirmation process automated so we don't have to add more stress and work to the staff by calling and emailing in order to get a receipt confirmation of our ballots. Andre from PA Voice. Good morning, Commissioners. Given that there is no Board of Election meeting, we have heard a number of concerns around language access in Berks County and was hoping to have some of these issues discussed today or have answered via email if the response is not available today. Question 1. No signs explaining how to get to the drop box are in Spanish. This includes parking spots that have been made available to the public. Other groups promoting voting in the area have made public posts on social media about the physical layout and signage of the site being challenging for English speakers. 2, police officers stand behind the entry doors and ask people what their business is. None of them speak Spanish. 3, the drop box itself is in the same room as the officers, and neither the box itself nor the signs around it are marked in Spanish. 4, the election office is down the hall and around the corner from the front entrance, and there are no signs. Thank you for the opportunity to make my remarks as we all work to ensure no voter is disenfranchised this election. And that concludes the comments for today.
That closes our comment period. And at this time, we'll give an opportunity for comments. I'm going to just simply go to Commissioner Barnhart. A number of items here. I think most of these issues have been addressed, but yes. Commissioner Barnhart.
Yes, thank you. The one in particular, Krista Kowalski asked about my meeting with the PJ. Yes, I did meet with the President Judge on Monday. He is too concerned about the weekenders, which was your question last week. They have a Board of Judges meeting this coming Tuesday. Now, recognizing the criminal justice system, he can't order other sitting judges to suspend sentences or work release or what other sorts of ways to defer people out of the criminal justice system, but he's going to encourage his fellow judges to be mindful of the increasing population, specifically your question about weekenders at the jail. He thinks it's something that is probably something they can defer till later on and don't have people coming in and out of the jail on weekends. But the population at the jail is what it is because people have not stopped committing crimes. Even though we're in the throes of COVID-19 pandemic, people are still committing crimes and must be held accountable. To some of the election questions in general, we have interpreters at all city polls, and we also had at least 12 interpreters on election day in election services handling any phone calls that could have come in from judge of elections throughout the balance of the county polls. As a matter of fact, Barbara Lopez, Commissioner Michael Rivera's executive assistant, was one of those interpreters, and she said the phones did not ring. We certainly are going to continue this process because what it does by having 12 interpreters in election services available by phone through the judge of elections gives us that exponential ability to literally have interpreters in 202 polls. As far as I know, I come in and out of work every day and I see signs out front that are clearly marked in English and Spanish, guiding people to the drop box and guiding people to the 3 pull-in parking spaces out front. And these are not police officers, these are deputy sheriffs who I said earlier are receiving compliments from people as to their professionalism and their ability to help people if they are confused or not sure where they're going. And our SGI guards, many of them are bilingual, and they have been nothing but outstanding in letting people know where election services is or any other county business in the services center or the courthouse. Again, I said it before, our employees and our SGI people and everyone else are standing tall during this period of time. I know there are a lot of questions, but from where I observe it, I don't see where things are that confusing, not just at the Ag Center drop box, but here in downtown Reading. And we did hear your concerns. We did extend the hours to the best of our ability to expand this out. Again, it's a matter of staffing. We do not make willy-nilly decisions on where to put drop boxes and don't have them manned simply by a camera. That's just not our method of doing business here in Berks County. Sorry, but we are Berks County, and we like to really ensure the integrity of everyone's vote. Last but not least, this question gets asked every week just by different people about marrying the machine tally with the scan. It's been our objective from weeks ago to try to have as many of the scanned ballots done by the time the machine tallies come in. That, I think, will be a decision made by the election officials that evening as to what results will be put out to the general public and the media as to whether we can, in fact, at that point, combine the scanned totals with the machine totals. It all depends on how quickly we can get the scanned ballots through the process into the scanner and uploaded, as well as the dropping off of the product at not just the Ag Center, but downtown for our poll workers. Now, let's recognize there are probably going to be still people in line at 8 o'clock at night. So if anyone expects to see results at 9 or 10 or even 11 o'clock that night, I think it's foolhardy to think that all this takes place and that by a flip of a switch, you're going to get your results. It's a process. So please be patient. I can assure you it's not going to be days or weeks after the election, but it'll be much quicker than it has been in the primary because we're geared up for it, and certainly much quicker than other counties and other states in the United States. Well, we're ready to go. We're waiting for everything to get started, and we'll make everyone proud of Berks County's efforts on the election. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Barnhart. And I want to note, I see that question all the time, don't post them, do you have final results? It really, if you think about it, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. What we've always done is post and note that what is included, the percentage of precincts that are in versus those that aren't in. And in this case, as Commissioner Barnhart noted, we will note incomplete, and the results will be incomplete until the final tally of not just the ballots postmarked on election day that come in by 5 p.m. on November the 6th, but as well as absentee and overseas ballots. That's why you get unofficial results as a result of election day, and the election isn't certified till several weeks later once everything has been processed. And a lot of the results are going to depend on, is a race close? If a race is close, I can tell you that you're not going to know until we get the final votes. If a race isn't close, it won't make a difference. So we always seek to post results that are transparent. And I don't know, Commissioner Barnhart, since we've been here, if we've ever posted results that said they were complete when they were actually incomplete.
No, they're always unofficial, and basically what you see late that night is the machine tallies, and not even all the machines are counted. And then, of course, you got the military, the overseas, the provisionals, the absentees, even in the older days last year. Those things trail on for the balance of the week, usually till about Friday of that week. Right. So they do trickle in, but I mean, the overwhelming majority of votes are in on election evening, later at night. But then again, there are still hundreds, if not several thousand out there that still need to be processed. Yeah,
and on John Archer on the recipe for chaos. I really think that is an unfortunate term to use. The observers for pre-canvassing has never occurred before because we haven't had this process in Berks County. The forms are posted for both the DoubleTree for pre-canvassing and where the ballots are being counted, and for those that want to observe in the elections department. We are looking, and I understand your concern about who. We're looking at that issue. We will get that addressed shortly, but this is not going to be chaos. This is going to be organized, and at the end of the day, the process we're seeking to be as transparent and as secure as possible so the public can trust the results that they see following the election on November the 3rd. Any other comments?
I just want to comment on some here in reference to the Spanish-speaking community having access to how the voting process works. I do on the second and last Sunday of the month, half an hour show on Rumba, the Spanish-speaking radio station, and the last two programs have been on the elections process. And this Sunday's show will be on that as well. And that's from 9 to 9:30 a.m. on Rumba here in Reading. Also, the BCTV show that I do monthly this Monday, which is at 6:30 p.m. on BCTV. That will be around the election process as well. And it will also be in Spanish. I've done other shows and also working with Hispanic Center on doing a Facebook Live with them on the election process in Spanish as well. So there is different information out there. If you would like me to go and speak to a group or do some type of virtual presentation to a group in Spanish, I'd be more than happy to do that. So that is something that I have been working on for these elections and getting information out. We also have a HAVA coordinator who's fully bilingual. Her name is Sarah. She's been doing these different programs with me. If you have any questions, you can call the election services and speak with Sarah. There is someone there that speaks Spanish. So we are working on that, making sure that the Latino community also can have access to the information on the elections.
Thank you, Commissioner Rivera, and I want to compliment you from day one, not just with elections. You've made it your mission to make certain those that English just may not be their natural language. They have English as a second language. They are more comfortable with Spanish. You've gone out of your way to make materials and programs available in Spanish far beyond anything the county's been able to do before. You have spent a lot of hours outside of normal work hours, evenings, as you note, on Sundays, seeking to provide information to the Spanish-speaking community, and we appreciate your efforts. I'm certain a lot of the folks that have made comments about the need for more Spanish-speaking materials or Spanish language materials are not aware of the great work that you've done to do your part. You translated the website, you translated all of the literature, some material that's going out now on the vaccinations. You've translated that, you and Barbara Lopez. We don't want to ignore Barbara. So thank you very much for what you're doing. And I wanted to highlight that as I read these comments and heard your comments. I realize a lot of people may not have any idea the kind of effort that you've put into this, and I thank you for the work that you've done.
Yeah, thank you, and also thank you to the Hispanic Center who has helped out a lot also, with this process and getting the information out in Spanish as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Michael.
Very good. Any other comments?
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded, and we are adjourned. Thank you.